Because what we did, we asked one more VC and one amazing startup infiltrate this crowd to listen to this panel, and now, in a heart-to-heart, what we call the epilogue, share with you what they think about the VC panel, which has just happened, and to also share, maybe their expectations and their own stories in a way, right? So investment climate has gone to shit, or has it? I would like to invite on stage the VC part, Aija Perta from RubyLight. A round of applause. And Andris Merkulovs, CEO of Latvian startup Monetizr, who, to my best knowledge, is the last one of Latvian startups who raised a substantial investment. So in this investment climate, right? So just a few weeks ago, I believe, or was it I mean, it was a few days or a few weeks, who is counting, right? There were amazing news that Monetizr raised $4 million, right? So please, guys, the floor is yours, and tell us now what it really is.
Hey, how are you?
Hello everyone. So that's a challenging part to put a cherry right on the top, but we'll do our best, right? It was a lot of fun actually for me, but and I want to thank all my fellow investors on such a polarized perspective on the state of fundraising. But before we jump into discussion about this panel and provide the view of the founder of a startup on the same issue, I wanted to learn a little bit more about what Monetizr does, and reading the tagline from your landing page, it says that Monetizr is a platform for brand advertisers to create more meaningful experiences. So how do you do that, and what type of experiences those are?
Hell yeah. That's a good pitch. So Monetizr is in-game advertising platform. What do we do? So for brands that are looking to interact with Gen Z and millennial audiences, think about like enterprise, tier one companies like Coca-Cola, Gillette, even the toilet paper. These brands are looking for interact with their consumers in more native ways. So what we did, we built a platform for them to plug their campaigns into the games. But I hate ads. I've been in ad industry, and what we don't want to do is just interrupt the flow of games. And those are the second party that we work with. So what we did, we just made this more native experience to them and reward consumers, the gamers, with the brand products and rewards inside the game. So that's a pretty good line. Thanks so much for introducing that.
That's your line, actually. So I was just reading it. But thank you very much. Well, it's time to reflect a little bit, and one thing I want to just bring right away, that I do disagree with the title of the previous discussion, that we're heading towards the winter time. I strongly believe that we are already in this winter time, and the data proves that. The most significant drop in startup funding happened in the third quarter of 2022, and so we are approaching 1-year anniversary already. Nonetheless, you're one of the few startups that come from Latvia that managed to raise $4 million this year. Congratulations again, round of applause. That's an achievement. And I wanted to use that as a perspective, how to raise within such a turbulent time, right? And so the first question would be, how long did it take for you to raise this last round? So starting from the point when the board has made a decision till all the papers were signed.
Oh, amazing question. So what previous panel talked about, like determination, doing things right, like you have to decide and build awesome product. That's number one. Okay, assume you're there. What's important is that if we as a team decide to start raising money, it's to make sure that one raises money and the rest of the team keeps on working, keeps on grinding. So while you raise money, and during these periods, fundraise might be longer, so company still grows. So in the first VC meeting, you show a dot and it grows. So that's important. So now let me answer the question. So we made a decision at TechChill, like, let's warm it up, let's start talking to VCs to understand where are we. And that was last year. That was last year. We made a decision, and then just let's understand what's the market, let's see if there are commitments. From initial just starting conversations, rebuilding relationships, starting sending updates to those folks, giving calls, how we're doing, up to the last point when we sent, hey guys, we're officially announcing, was 6 months warm-up. During that, I pitched various types of shorter, longer formats. I prepared materials, like decks, multiple versions of that, financial models, etc. And once we sent update, our lead investor responded in 12 hours or so from the point when I sent an email, said, hey, let's jump on a call. I would love to bring this to my partner team. So building that took 6 months to get to that point where we can send the email. And then we could, okay, lead investor is in. And we love that our lead investor is Change Ventures. Thank you for them. I see one of the guys there. From that point, it took a couple of months to go back and forth on the metrics. And we proactively raised during 3 months. But after that, we were done with the round. What was the remaining part of the round was closing the paperwork. So that was like additional 3 or 4 months. So eventually, it's full year long from decision, 6-month preparation, actually pitching for 2 active months, and then closing with paperwork. And when we closed that, we started with one valuation, different valuation. Happy to address that.
Yeah, that would be interesting to hear. But in terms of composition, so you mentioned Change Venture, which is your existing investor, right? They were just following on with this round. But how many new investors have joined on board? And were there any other existing investors that followed on with investments?
Yes, indeed. So we have 3 investors who invested at angel stage or super early stage, and they were in a position to invest again. So we're excited. But from all the investors who we have, so distribution is between Latvian angel community, some VCs here, and US-based investors who are both seed and angel stage. So they were the ones who invested. And from all those, 3 investors jumped in. One of those are Techstars. We've been through Techstars Accelerator. They invested once. That was the initial money, and now they made the follow-ons. And first angel investor, Valdemars Brediķis, he's our angel investor in Latvia, you probably know. He built a new fund, and we were so happy that he has a new fund, and he made a follow-on investment there. So these are 2 examples that they saw who we are as founders. Same as previous panel talked about, build long-term relationships, and if you do, you will succeed.
Okay, about the new investors that joined the round. A little bit more about them. What type of investors those are? How did you find them? And what was your major pitch?
So Monetizr, as you heard from the pitch, gaming, enterprise, the platform, so these categories. So we're going into the companies who are investing in these spaces. So we raised money from Ludus Ventures. They invest heavily in gaming. So that was a strategic decision to have some gaming expertise. And also we were looking for enterprise, somebody maybe who invested in ad tech as well, because we have this advertising arm. So those are 3 different approaches, 3 different lists. So what we did in the beginning, we created the list, scraped Crunchbase, talked with founders, and built eventually the list. Started from there, and then started either getting warm intro. That's the best way how to build relationships, opening them email, having that materials that we worked on, just ready, copy paste, it's there, and in 1 second, literally, snap, done. Plus customized why, hey, you're a gaming VC, you invested in this and that. This is what I saw in your portfolio. I would love to have a meeting or your opinion about how we could be a fit or get the feedback on our business. So that's the email pitch. And also, this is also the deck itself. So I customized the deck. 30% of the deck was customized to that VC. So that's how we started building the list and worked on 3 parallel lists at the same time.
And what was the main pitch? So what you were pitching to the new investors?
Well, it's everything that the previous panel talked about, like from founders, why we are the ones for this. Second one, why the market is the right time, because why now? Like, why now? It will be constantly the question even for our next raise, for growth stages, etc. So these were two main categories, but a part of that, of course, traction, how we are doing. So we're selling to enterprise. It's a hell of a long sales cycle, a lot. Look, so many things can change from first meeting to the enterprise company until you actually launch the deal. There's a lot of steps in between. How to show traction for enterprise businesses, it's very difficult. So we were transparent about what's the momentum, what's the lines, what's the process there, and just showing and giving also an opportunity to speak with our clients as well. That was like the nail that allowed us to close the round.
Great. So now in such an environment, which is far from being stable, right? The economic environment and the geopolitical environment that we have at our borders and everything else, and this cooling winter time, a lot of investors in trying to managing their risks, turning to be more kind of pessimistic and cautious, and therefore looking for the ability of a startup to generate revenues over the ability of a startup to show great traction, right? It's a revenue first, I would say. Was that a case for you? Was that an argument? How much of a role that played if you do generate the revenues? Were you been able to show this and make your investors comfortable with putting the money into your company?
This was not the case for us. We were in sexy category, gaming. Some of our competitors raised on $100 million valuation with somewhat similar traction that we have now. It's like ridiculous, and they raised before the winter period started. So that set the scene in the gaming VC category, and like they looked at momentum, of course, but revenue was not the main one. So therefore, the valuation conversation was totally different versus enterprise VC or the ones that focus on B2B segment. They are the ones that say, you know what, show me the revenue, and only then we're going to talk. So there are two different type of conversations that we had. Luckily, we had revenue. Now we're doubling every 6 months. We doubled from last year, and we expect to double it again. So that's awesome. But up to that point, it's like, okay, we have a first meeting. Okay, we have pilot. Okay. We don't have revenue to show, but we closed the LOI, we signed. Enterprise is difficult to sell, especially in seed stage.
Well, everything is very difficult to sell, I must say. But obviously that was not your first round, right? So how many rounds in total have you raised for Monetizr?
So we started the company in 2016.
Wow!
Right? Like we had 3 near-death experiences. We had like $78 when my co-founder was in San Francisco. It's like, I don't have money to buy a ticket back to Riga. So that was one of that. And just living through that cockroach mode, I love that theme. That's one of the, like, hey, let's live through that.
I would suggest lizard, no? Cockroaches is like lizards are more...
But the mentality, mentality-wise, that was the cockroach mode. Lizard, okay, let's go with that. So that was difficult. So what we did before, we went through Techstars, through Accelerate. Okay, we got the first money, and then we tried to bootstrap, get some revenue from angels, like try to live through this trough of sorrow, just very difficult. So that was how we tried to maintain and validate. If you think about lean canvas, okay, we have the problem solved. Okay, market is there, opportunity is there. We don't have a customer. We don't have money to generate. So something is not right. So every iteration, we change something, big parts of a business. But fundamentally, we believe in creating best experience for the gamers, and we played in this category. So we were true north to that.
Okay, but in terms of the fundraising, you do have quite an experience, right? Have you noticed anything different in this winter time, like in terms of valuation, which you mentioned, or maybe special terms or condition, or the accessibility of the funds, like they're putting money in tranches, anything that would be kind of a signal that we are in a cooling stage of a fundraise?
Yes. In the beginning, we got around $700,000 soft committed. All of them, so we started conversations in spring. At the end of the spring, summer goes through. In fall, hey guys, I'm keeping you up to date with information. You committed $700,000, like multiple folks. Where are we? We got lead investor. Where are you? Where are you? They vanished. And what also changed, one of our advisors recommended raise on different valuation. So we were starting, hey, gaming is sexy market. We end up lowering the valuation, which was initially recommended from various market experts. So just, hey, what's the realistic one? We need the right folks who will believe in us. So we optimized for that, not for valuation. So just looking for multiple feedbacks from the folks. But yes, we thought everything's going to go well, but it did not.
Okay, challenging. Well, I mean, from my personal perspective, I do feel that we are living in this winter time, and it's like I'm kind of in my February blues or something. I'm desperately seeking for any signs of spring, and actually the cases like yours are giving hope that the spring is somewhere around the corner. So I wanted to thank you for sharing this experience. That was a lot of insightful information that we did receive. And I want to wish you a great deployment of the funding and very high returns for your investors. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.